Hi there everybody, my name's Chris Ormy and welcome back to Rascalicious Farms. Now, this is Starters Order 6 and this should have been episode 5. However, episode 4, the footage corrupted and I tried my best to recover as much as possible, but there was one 5-minute chunk that I could save that was good, and another 5, maybe 10 minutes that were okay, but I'd have to annotate over. The other half of the footage was gone, so I just felt it was best not to mess too much with it. Instead, we'll take a look back at what did happen in that episode. This will become episode 4, but we'll look back at what happened over that period and sort of bring you all up to date before looking at where things actually stand. So the first thing to notice is I sold Stormswell, our 87 rated horse. I believe that was for low 300, I think it was like 308, 318, something like that. I think it was that we sold that horse for. That's 380,000, sorry. So it's not a bad amount of money. That took us up to about 1.6 million in the bank. We betted our way up to about 5 million. Then over the next 2 days races, I bet it all and lost it all. Back down to about 800,000, I believe it was. Then we won more money and lost more money. If we look here on the finance screen, you can see I've made about 3.5 million, or 3.3 million, sorry, I've made on gambling this season. I've lost a lot, sadly, but you know, I've got a group of horses now I'm watching. When they're racing, I'm putting bets on them. I'm also looking long term for maybe if they come up at auction or just future breeding potential. So there's a bunch of horses I'm taking a look at. And if we look at horses here, it's Lionheart, Nesno, Elusive Prince. Ice Road Trucker is a horse I really like. If you look at this horse, 8 wins and a 3rd place. That is a nice little 5-year-old. If I can pick that up this year or next year, I'll be very happy. And maybe even, you know, if the potential is high enough, put that into the breeding barn. So I do need to get about 1 million, 1.5 million, maybe even more, just in case a horse like this crops up. So, you know, I'm very excited with some of these horses. Sumba is another good one. Randolph O'Brien I've got on my list. And then I believe there's a few more a little lower. Christopher's Quest I believe is one as well. And the Man from Fram, because, you know, 2nd place in the Preakness. Didn't do much over distance at Brooklyn, but the horses in and around the Triple Crown races this season, I thought it's always good to keep an eye on them. Judge how good they were. I can better judge against my own horses for the future that way. And maybe if I pick them up, if they did well in those races, they go into the breeding program, and that gives me a head start on trying to get my own horses into good positions for those races. So that's kind of what we've been doing there, but Stormswell just wasn't good enough. We had to get rid. The price was good. I spent that money to bring in Montauk Highway, and this is a nice little horse. We only raced once. We dead heated. We didn't settle very well at the beginning, and that was a problem as well when it ran in the Derby, which is probably why it was up for sale in the first place. So as you can see there, 17th out of 20. That didn't worry me too much. I thought that was a bit of a false finish because of the agitation. This one didn't settle. I'm thinking maybe about sort of blinkers, visor, noseband, but I'm not sure exactly how they work, which is good for which situation. I'm just not sure. In this one, settled mid-division, midfield and faded. It doesn't say anything about why it was agitated. And in this race, you know, we didn't settle very well, then held up towards the rear and brought out just a dead heat on the line, but we did get our nose in front. I believe that is a fair result. That is a win. So I don't mind the other horse picking up the win. I do think we were slightly ahead. Potential's decent, good constitution, confidence, cruising burst, extra speed potential is there, low deterioration, great consistency with a bit of adaptability over both distance and going. This horse has stamina, it has great starts, it's got good speed and acceleration. I quite like this horse. That 17th was not a true finish in my estimation. So we put it up in an allowance race. It did win. Okay, you can say what you want about dead heats, but it did technically win the race. That is a nice little horse. As I say, about I think it was about 300. It was either 334,000 or 343, somewhere around there. Low to mid sort of 300s anyway. I think that's a good pickup, especially since we got a little bit less than that for Stormswell. And I think we've got a much better horse for a tiny little bit of money difference. There were two other ones I brought in. I spent about 700,000 on each. One of them sadly didn't work out. We actually only got about 500,000 back for. But the Starboard Bow is a horse that I think is a steal at 700,000. So as you can see, it won a race here with 500,000. And in its last race for me, it won 750,000. A race worth 750,000. I've just been increasing its distance because I thought the stamina of this horse was really good. I didn't feel like it was a mile 1 horse where it had been raced, despite winning and coming second. The owners must have seen that rating was high and wanted to sell it, didn't think it could do it, whatever. I decided to test it out over a mile 2. And we were never able to challenge. We didn't have the pace. We were picking up towards the end, I believe. Yeah, the jockey said we were beginning to pick up towards the end. We weren't outclassed in this sort of C2 race, so I decided why not push it up to a mile 3. I believe that's a mile 3, mile 4 territory here on the stamina bar. I felt that we had a shot. The only real race that was there was the United Nations Stakes over a mile 3. And I just thought, why not? It's a short field, let's go for it. Top 5's almost guaranteed with this horse, I believed. And, yeah, not only was top 3 guaranteed, considering we only had 1 or 2 issues. We did fall back towards the start, but this seems to be a closer. Not my kind of horse. I dislike watching a horse fall to the back, so you never know if it's going to make a move. However, this one did. It moved well, it moved quickly, and in the end, thanks to my rookie jockey, as you can see, Straz there, giving us a £7 advantage. Plus we already had £6 over the Dubai horse, which I'm always worried when a foreign horse is in a race, or when I go to foreign countries, especially Dubai, because it's very difficult to win some of those races. But the Starboard Bow came out a length ahead. That is just absolutely fantastic. That's 450,000 profit, over half of what we paid. Now I believe with the 700,000 and 300,000 plus prize money it already had, the previous owners earned about £1 million off this horse, but they no longer have the horse. On the other side, I think I'm down about £250,000 on the Starboard Bow at this stage after 2 races. Maybe about 200,000 would be fairer. But on the upside, I do have the horse. And not only do I have the horse, but if we actually win another 2 or 3 races like that past one, that last race, we could be in the £1 million profit territory ourselves, and we have the horse for the future. So I'm very happy about that pickup. Between that and Montauk, I think that's far better than we had with Stormswell and a couple of the horses we had to sell along the way. Soprano, I think, is one that's going to come good. Not really too much to say. There aren't really any races to put Soprano in at this stage. A 2-year-old that runs about a mile 1 there's nothing out there. I put it in another mile maiden just to see exactly where we were and what kind of distance we would be looking at. As you can see, the horse will get another furlong, but it was promising a nice second place finish, 73 up to 84 rating. I think that was a worthwhile run. We did finish some way back, but at the end of the day, I quite liked what I saw. So we're waiting for our mile 1 races to come up. Then we're going to race Soprano pretty heavily in those, just to see if we can push him up to the level where the other 5 horses are at this point. As for the 3 we started with, Count Bertoni, he had a little bit of a setback in that Kentucky BC in the Grade 3 race. I believe in the last video, I don't know if that was in the one that was corrupted. I believe it was in the last video you would have seen, which is episode 3. But another Grade 3 race came up, a second place finish. Didn't have the pace. Again, it's only 5 furlongs. And I think we need to start looking again at 6 furlongs. I think we need to start increasing the distance for Bertoni. I believe he's probably in between distances as well. So no grade races. The next couple, I think we need to sort of dial down the quality, but up the distance. Just trying to get him in. He has filled his potential. It's about 67, I believe it is. So that's good for this season. Only good things will come in the future there, I believe. I believe my best horse was Carodal last video. Now he seems to have fallen down to number 3. Kind of surprisingly, I bought him one really good horse, and one's just developed really well. But Carodal, he's still got about 10% potential left in his 2-year-old season. It's a nice little horse. I believe this colt has a lot of promise, and we're moving up to 6 furlongs. And Carodal, second place in a money race, another grade 3 race, up from 5 to 6 furlongs, and the same finish. You know, we had no extra there, we didn't have the pace there, which means we had to step up really. You know, I believe again this is another horse, however, that is possibly in between 5 and 6 furlongs. So I'm going to look around the 6 furlong mark again, but maybe dial it back to a C2 race or a C3 race rather than a graded C1. Or maybe just put it in a grade 3 race that isn't a prize money race. Because I've had some success sort of dialing back a tiny bit like that in other games. So we'll just have to see if that helps out Carodal at all. Lastly, but certainly not least, is Glingermill. And you'll have to bear with me, because I have no idea what's going on. I ran Glingermill at 7 furlongs in its maiden. It wasn't even a maiden race, it was an allowance race. Probably a fault of mine, should have been a maiden. A 6 furlong maiden, maybe it would have done something in. But it came 5th out of 5. Absolutely terrible. We're actually going to click here and go look at the form. So as you can see, we're miles behind even the 4th place horse. That was a terrible race. We missed the break. Everything went wrong. So, you know, we persevered. Dropped down to 5 furlongs. A very low handicap race. We're carrying low weight by 5 pounds over a horse not rated that much better, and this was a pretty bad sort of rating for Glingermill. It's not a true rating at all in my estimation. So we raced and we won comfortably as expected. 4 3/4 furlongs, not an issue. So then we move the handicap from 65 to 100. Again, it's a decent field. There's not too much competition. The only real sort of competition I felt we might have was Namwa Jobo and 2 lengths. quite nice. They missed the break. They didn't quite have enough extra. We win. Okay, great. That's not an issue. Again in 5 furlongs. Again, another win and another good win. Tearaway Lady, I believe this was in episode 3. But the progression continues. We get another win by 5 furlongs. Absolutely fantastic. Despite carrying probably a pound less. Or a pound more, sorry. And then we step up. And I believe this might have been... I believe this was in episode 3. I think this is the last race you would have seen. A competitive field. Again, I felt we were lower weighted than horses that were similar ability, because our rating still wasn't... It wasn't quite there. I thought about 90 was Glingamill's true rating. So, I was surprised to see us win by that distance. Another, big win. Great stuff. That was at 6 furlongs as well. We're moving up, back up the distance a little bit. And then I decided to go for broke. And we went for a grade 3 rating. And as you can see, it wasn't easy. 3 horses there within a length of each other, right behind us. What's that? 400th of a second, or 4/10 of a second, sorry, that they were behind us in 4th place. Half a second behind in 5th place. Yeah, okay, we're starting to get up to our true quality. Grade 3, 6 furlongs, good stuff. I did think there was more to come. I thought the same with the starboard bow. Let's just try it. Let's throw it into a race where it might struggle, but if it doesn't, we got a real horse in our hands. So we went up to the 7 furlong triple bend, class 2 handicap. I felt the extra distance might test the horse, but we won by a length, and we won against good horses at this distance. Now, Monte Major was a big disappointment, fell off a lot. That was our main test, I thought. Bilko Pack did do us, did run us strong, carrying less weight because of a rookie jockey, but we still won that by the length. So, what's happened with Glingamill is 49 rating, up to 63, 71, 85, 94, 102, and 109 coming out of that last race. It's won the only 2 feature races that we've put it in, and 2 out of the 3 feature races we've ran as a stable so far. Glingamill, it still doesn't have much stamina, but we should be able to get it into a mile races, which means the Dubai sprint races, all that kind of thing. 7 furlongs to a mile is the range for this colt. And yeah, if only I'd put it in a 6 furlong maiden or a 5 furlong maiden for his first race. If only it hadn't have been agitated. Who knows, this could have been an unbeaten horse with a fantastic rating. But I think we're back up to where we should be, so we learn our lessons, we move on. But that's where things stand right. I have 3 2-year-old horses. We've got the 2 Counts and Carodal, and I think for their distances they will be top 5 for their age and distance at the moment in the game. So I'm very happy about that. I think they will earn their keep and they will develop into really good 3-year-olds and should be sort of class 1 at the age 4, maybe 5 at the latest. I'm very happy about that. Those are money making horses. That is going to be the foundation that we build this entire operation on, really. Glingamill, it's the highest rated horse we have, and after round 1 it was the lowest. The progression has been staggering. I've been putting it in more races than the other just to push it as much as I can and see where the limit is. I think after a grade 3 win, we need to look at grade 2, maybe even grade 1 races, and just test Glingamil, see where this colt is actually going to top out. So, we're excited there. And Montauk and Starboard, the other 3-year-olds. Montauk, I think, is a solid money-earning horse. I'm always going to be able to find races I can put in top 5 and keep earning money. Not a lot of money, but like the other 3 2-year-olds, I think they're all around the same right now. We'll have to see how the 2-year-olds progress, but if they end up like Montauk, I'm happy, to be perfectly honest with you. We'll have 4 money-earning horses. We'll have 1 big prize-winning horse in the Starboard Bow, and maybe a second, or one that's not too far off, if my hunch is right, with Glingamil. So, at the moment, like I say, I need more money. I need to double my money. I need to book some more races, and I'm still looking at the auctions. I'm still looking for females, because we have no fillies, we have no mares, we have no breeding operation in place right now, and possibly we won't have any going forward after this season unless we start to look at it now. Everything else is in place. Our facilities, I believe, are good enough. Everything's on the highest setting there, and we're not too far away from being a world-class organisation. The horses we got are good. We're winning races. We have had, 2 horses? Just 2 horses outside the top 5. So only in 2 of the races they have run have they not earned prize money. And that race from Montauk was not with us. The only race this horse has won has been a win for us. That's the only race it's been in. So that 9th place for Batoni, when it was outclassed, I had to try and see. That gamble didn't pay off. The ones for Glingamil and Starboard Bow have. So overall, I think we're in great shape. I'm excited to see where we go forward. And I think that's going to about do it for this episode. The time is ticking on. But this replaces what we would have seen in episode 4 and becomes the new episode 4. I hope you come back for episode 5. I will be recording that later on today. I think you might see it a day or so after this one comes out, maybe 2 days. I'm trying to space out the videos a little bit so that I get ahead of things. And yeah, we've got a little bit of a backlog in case any real life issue crops up, so the series doesn't stop for a few days or a week or so if anything does happen. If you have liked watching this video and this series so far, please spread the word, tell your friends about it, click that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know what to do. Leave a comment on the video as well. What kind of tips and advice have you got? Is there anything I'm doing wrong? Is there anything you'd like to know more about certain horses or certain things? About the way I'm gambling, why I'm betting the way I am, how I'm booking races. I know I don't show you a lot of that stuff in the videos. So if there is anything you'd like to see, just leave a comment or just, say hi. I try and reply to every comment. I think the channel's still very small, and so I'm able to do that quite well. Get in touch, and I hope to see you around next time. But for now, from all at Rascalicious Farm, I've been Chris Orme. This has been Starters Order 6, and I'll see you next time.